Hey y'all, I'm Mandy, and this is Mandy in the Making. Welcome back to another What's for Dinner. We're really excited about this week's meals. Before we get started, I wanted to let you know I am still accepting recipes for our Subbie Supper segment here. That's where you guys send in your favorite recipes. If you haven't sent yours in, be sure to do that. Email me at mandyinthemaking2018@gmail.com. Now let's get started. Tonight we're gonna have cabbage, sausage, and potato soup. We're gonna be making this in a Dutch oven. This is gonna be perfect for fall nights that are coming up soon. To get started, I'm gonna do some dicing and chopping. That's the hardest part of this meal. Pretty much everything else all goes in the Dutch oven. The potatoes are gonna go in a little bit later. We're gonna saute the carrots and the celery together, so I just wanna separate this out. So I've never cooked with leeks before. This is my first time, so obviously I've never chopped them up before. My friend Jen Chapin told me to go check out her video. I'm gonna link that below. It was really great help. It was how to chop produce and leeks was included, so thanks, Jen. Just making sure these are really clean, and I'm gonna drain this water out and then I'll spin them to dry them. We've got this large Dutch oven on medium heat. I'm gonna add my kielbasa sausage, and we're gonna brown this up for about 5 to 6 minutes. One thing I wanted to mention is that this is gonna make a lot of soup. So if you wanted to cut it in half after it's done, you can freeze half of it. It should be fine in the freezer for up to 3 months or so. Now that these have browned up a little bit, we're gonna remove them because we've got to saute the vegetables. So we're just gonna set these to the side. Now we're just gonna add in a couple of tablespoons of olive oil and add in our 2 carrots diced, our 1 celery stalk diced, and our 3 leeks. We're gonna saute these for about 5 minutes. All right, we're gonna add in our minced garlic, and we're gonna add in all of our cabbage. This is 1 small head of cabbage just chopped up into bite-sized pieces. We're gonna cook this for about 4 or 5 minutes just to get this cabbage to wilt down. All right. That has wilted down really nicely, and now it's time to add in our potatoes. You want to add in about 1 pound of red potatoes that have been cut into bite-sized pieces. We're going to add in our sausage, 6 cups of chicken stock, 1 tablespoon of Italian seasoning, and 1 bay leaf. We're gonna stir all of this and we're gonna let it come up to a simmer. And once it does, we're gonna put a lid on it, drop the heat to about medium-low, and let it simmer for about 15 minutes or so until the potatoes are tender. Okay, this is starting to simmer, so I'm gonna turn it down just a little bit and we're gonna let it do this for about 15 minutes. It's been 15 minutes, so we're gonna check on the potatoes and see if they are tender. Now we're just gonna add salt and pepper to taste, and we are ready to eat.
Those Italian seasonings are really good. I love the flavor of the soup. There's a lot of good flavors in here. That is really good.
Hey y'all, tonight we're having one of my favorites at Outback. Tonight we're making Alice Springs chicken. To get started, I'm gonna cut these pieces of bacon in half. We're using about 2 pieces of bacon per chicken breast. And several of you have mentioned to me that when I'm cutting bacon, I should probably just use kitchen shears, that it's a little bit easier. So that's what I'm doing tonight. All right, let's take this over to the stove and get it cooking. Okay, these chicken breasts are pretty thick, so I'm gonna cut these in half just so that they cook evenly. Now I'm gonna get started on Outback's version of their honey mustard. It's really simple, and a friend of mine gave me this recipe. I'm using 1/2 cup of Duke's mayonnaise. They said it's really important that it's Duke's. I'm gonna be using 1/4 cup of honey, and someone told me that I needed to spray my measuring cup with olive oil and then the honey would just slip right out, which I think is really smart. That worked pretty good. And then lastly, I need 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard. Okay, I'm gonna give this a try. Well, that's good. That tastes just like the Outback honey mustard. Some of this is gonna go on the chicken, and then I'm gonna reserve a little bit of it for us to use as like a dipping sauce. I'm gonna reserve a little bit of this bacon grease because we're gonna actually sear the chicken before we put it in the oven. The recipe doesn't say to do that, but I think it's gonna give it a lot of extra flavor. Okay, I've got this 9x13 dish, and I'm just gonna spray it with some olive oil, just so nothing sticks. On the bottom layer, I'm gonna put these baby Bella mushrooms. Cole does not like mushrooms, so I'm not gonna do it all across the bottom, just kind of on a little over half for me and Steven. Next, I'm gonna layer on our chicken. And because we seared this, we're not gonna have to bake it for quite as long as it tells us to in the recipe. The recipe says to bake it for 30 minutes at 350. We're gonna try about 20 minutes and check it after that. Now I'm just gonna put our bacon on top. And you don't have to get this bacon extra crispy because it is gonna go in the oven and bake along with the chicken, so We didn't worry about it being super crispy. Now I'm gonna drizzle on our honey mustard. If I run out, if I have to use all of it, then I'll just make a little bit more for dipping sauce for us. The recipe calls for Monterey Jack cheese. I'm using Colby and Monterey Jack. Okay, this is going in the oven at 350 for about 20 minutes.
I can already tell this is going to be amazing. Look at this. I mean, you can't go wrong with bacon and cheese and chicken.
Honey mustard.
This is going to be a party. A little bit. That's amazing.
Yeah?
I mean, that is just absolutely amazing.
Would you say it's as good as the restaurant?
I mean, I don't even, there's no difference. I mean, if there's any difference, to me, the chicken is more tender than what you would get at the restaurant. I feel like it's drier, you know, at the restaurant. This is super tender, really juicy.
Awesome.
And I mean, just the flavors are just absolutely perfect.
So he won't get on camera, but I'm going to tell you, Cole like did a dance when he tasted this for the first time.
The fact that you seared it in the bacon grease beforehand with the seasonings and, you know, pre-seasoned chicken seared in the bacon grease, that was amazing. That is definitely what set this off.
Okay, moment of truth. Fun fact about me, I cut with my left hand, but I'm right-handed. Super weird. Coming from someone who has had Alice Springs chicken at Outback more times than I could ever even count, this is better. I totally agree with you both. Like, it's so tender and juicy.
Put in that dipping sauce there.
Oh yeah, I didn't even do that.
Yeah, do that and then put in the dipping sauce. It's really good. Get that big mushroom out there
Oh
too.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
For quite some time, Greek chicken has been my favorite way to prepare chicken. This is now my new favorite way to prepare chicken. We're gonna have this over and over and over again, babe.
No problem here.
Hey y'all, it is our favorite night of the week is Subbie Supper night. Tonight's Subbie Supper is a great one for back to school, and it's a good comfort food. I think y'all are gonna love it. It is called Buffalo Chicken Potato Casserole. Our Subbie Supper comes from Kristen this week. Kristen is a stay-at-home mom. She lives in Tennessee. She has 3 sons, one that's in college, and then she has a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old at home. She said her 8-year-old is autistic and is a very picky eater, so she's always struggling to find recipes that he would enjoy. But this is a family favorite, and whenever her son is home from college, he requests this one. It's a really simple one, and it's gonna be great for those weeknights when you're in a hurry and you just want something simple and easy and really tasty. Let's get started. Okay, the first thing we need to do is cube up 1 pound to 1.5 pounds of chicken. Before we go any further, I want to season the chicken just a little bit. I'm going to add about 1 teaspoon to 1.5 teaspoons of garlic powder. Also going to add some salt and pepper. Now I've got 1/3 cup of buffalo sauce. This is the Frank's Red Hot. The recipe calls for Southern style hash brown potatoes, but Kristen said that they prefer the shredded hash brown potatoes. So this is just 1 bag of those, and they've been thawing for just a little bit. To the potatoes, we're gonna add 1 cup of ranch dressing, which just happens to be this entire thing. 1 cup of shredded cheese. And then the recipe calls for 1 can of cream of chicken, which we are going to add, but Kristen adds in another can of soup. Kristen says they prefer a creamier texture to theirs, so she adds in a can of cream of celery as well. So I'm gonna do it just like Kristen does. Now I'm just adding in some salt and pepper to taste. Okay, I've got this 9 by 13 pan. I'm gonna spray it. And I forgot to mention, I do have my oven set to 350. It's been preheating. So on the bottom of this dish, we're gonna add in all of this potato mixture. Now on top of our potato mixture, we're going to distribute out the chicken pretty evenly. The recipe calls for 3 tablespoons of melted butter. We had a 1/2 stick left, which is 4 tablespoons. I'm gonna melt this now. The recipe calls for 2/3 a cup of crushed Ritz crackers. We've got about a cup here. Now I'm just gonna sprinkle this cracker crumbs over top. All right, I'm just gonna cover this up with some tin foil, and then we're gonna bake it at 350 for 25 to 30 minutes. Okay, now that I've removed the foil, we're gonna put it back into the oven for another 25 minutes or so.
This looks amazing and smells delicious. So ready for this. Whoa. That's really good. I mean, talk about comfort food. This is definitely comfort food, 100%. But then it's like over the top because it's got like that little bit of spice to it with the Frank's Red Hot. Man, this is my kind of comfort food. If you like spicy food, this is, I mean, it's not like overwhelmingly spicy because it has the, you know, the cool ranch. So you've got the spiciness of the Frank's Red Hot, the cool ranch, and then all of the flavors of the celery, the cream of celery, and the cream of chicken. Wow.
All right. Well, thank you, Kristen, for sending it in. I'm so excited to give it a try. I'm sure it's going to be good. It smelled heavenly the entire time it was in the oven. Thank y'all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this week's meals. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you did. And if you haven't already, I would love for you to join my YouTube family. Hit that subscribe button. Thanks, y'all, and I'll see you next time. Bye.